Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so merging your financial lives with your partner, it can honestly feel completely overwhelming, right? But today, we are going to look at how you can master your shared finances and truly put yourselves in charge of your money. Looking at the best practices drawn from financial experts, I promise you, this absolutely doesn't have to be a stressful experience. We're going to break down the exact steps to create a unified budget plan that actually works for both of you. So let's start with the biggest question on literally every young couple's mind. How do you budget when there are two of you? Because suddenly you're dealing with two income streams, two sets of spending habits, and let's be real here, two very different money mindsets that can easily lead to arguments. The whole key is finding a way to track your finances that fits both of your personalities, allowing you to merge your financial lives without all that extra stress. Here is our game plan for today. 1. The couple's money talk. 2. Crunching your joint numbers. 3. Setting shared financial goals. 4. Picking a budgeting method. And 5. Preparing for the unexpected. All right, diving into step 1, the couple's money talk. The absolute most important foundation for any couple's budget isn't the math, it's communication. You really have to take the time to sit down and understand each other's priorities before you even look at a single spreadsheet. And you've got structural options here. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. You can pool everything together into a single account and share all expenses. Or you might prefer splitting expenses 50-50, or maybe proportionally based on a percentage of each person's income. Honestly, a lot of couples find a hybrid approach works best, keeping a joint bank account for shared household needs while maintaining separate accounts for individual wants. The goal is just to agree on an architecture that makes both of you feel secure. Moving right along to step 2, crunching your joint numbers. Building an effective budget always starts with assessing your net income, not your gross pay. Net income is your take-home pay. It's the total wages after taxes and employee benefits like health insurance and 401k contributions are already taken out. Be super careful not to use your total gross pay, or you're going to end up overspending simply because you think you have more money available than what actually hits your bank accounts. Oh, and a quick tip, if one of you is a freelancer or a gig worker with a regular income, you need to keep meticulously detailed notes of your contracts to estimate this accurately. Next up, you need to know where your money is currently going. So for a few weeks, just track your spending together. Use whatever is handy, an app, a spreadsheet, or literally just pen and paper. Bank and credit card statements are incredibly helpful here because they already itemize things for you. Then, group your expenses. First, your fixed expenses. These are your regular, predictable monthly bills like rent, a mortgage, or car payments. Next, group your variable expenses. These are the ones that fluctuate. Think groceries, gas, or, those 4 iced coffees a week. This is exactly where you, as the team, will usually find the most opportunities to cut back. All right, step 3, setting shared financial goals. Before you start sifting through all that tracking data and making cuts, you need to know what you're actually aiming for. Figuring out what you are working toward as a couple provides the motivation you need to actually stick to the budget. You want to divide these shared ambitions into 2 buckets. Short-term goals take about 1 to 3 years to achieve. Think setting up an emergency fund or paying down credit card debt. Long-term goals are those major milestones that take decades, like saving for retirement or a child's college education. You must be explicit about these goals together, and critically, you need to include them as specific line items in your monthly budget. You want to earmark money for your goals every single month, just like you do for your utilities. Why does this matter? Because treating goals as mandatory bills is how dream vacations and dream homes actually become reality. Which brings us to step 4, picking a budgeting method. What's fundamentally important here is picking a method that fits both of your personalities. Let's look at 4 popular approaches. First, the famous 50-30-20 budget. This is a fantastic starting point for almost anyone. You take your joint take-home income and divide it into 3 categories. 50% for needs, like housing and minimum debt payments, 30% for wants, like streaming services and vacations, and 20% for savings or extra debt payments. Of course, you might need to adjust these percentages together. For example, if you live in a highly expensive city, your needs portion might just have to be higher. Or if your shared goal is saving aggressively for a down payment on a house, you'd bump up that savings percentage. Now, if you two look at your spending tracker and realize you have a little trouble controlling your spending, the envelope budget might be your best bet. You just assign a physical envelope to each expense category and fill it with the cash you've budgeted for the month. When the envelope is empty, you stop spending. It puts a hard physical limit on your outflow. If carrying around cash is too cumbersome, a lot of couples adapt this by setting up separate debit cards for specific categories. For partners who have a set monthly income and absolutely love meticulous record keeping, there's the zero-based budget. The rule here is simple. Your income minus your expenses must equal exactly zero. Now, this doesn't mean you're broke at the end of the month. It just means that every single dollar of your joint income has a specific assigned purpose, whether that's spending or saving, and you've accounted for all of it. Or perhaps you want to save more, but both of you completely dread the idea of detailed tracking. In that case, the pay yourself first budget is ideal. Every month, before you pay a single bill or make a purchase, you automatically transfer a predetermined amount right into your savings or investment accounts. Then you pay the bills for your necessities. Whatever is left over after that, you can use it for your wants without any guilt or constant tracking. Finally, step 5, preparing for the unexpected. Because even with the most meticulous plan and the absolute perfect budgeting method, life happens. 3 to 6, that is the minimum number of months of expenses you should aim to keep in a separate emergency fund. This protects you when things just don't go according to the spreadsheet. If you have a family, you might even aim for more than that. This fund is absolutely crucial to handle stressful events without going into debt. Things like a sudden job loss, a medical emergency, or major car repair. Make sure to include contributions to this fund as a line item in your budget and keep it in a separate, easily accessible account. Honestly, maybe even keep it at a totally different bank so you aren't tempted to dip into it for everyday spending. Now, what if you just mess up and overspend? First rule, if you overspend as a team, do not panic and definitely don't play the blame game. Instead, sit down and use it as an opportunity to review. Ask yourselves, have our priorities or our income actually changed? If your mandatory expenses are higher than expected, use these tactics to curb discretionary spending. Try instituting a 24-hour cooling off period before making any non-essential purchase. Go into your accounts and deactivate one-click buying to just completely remove that temptation of instant gratification. Or, as we mentioned earlier, switch to paying with cash for a little while. When you're looking for places to adjust your fixed and variable expenses, I want you to remember this brilliant insight. On close inspection, a need may just be a hard to part with. This right here is where compromise as a couple is truly tested. Are you paying for overlapping streaming services? Are you routinely eating out way more than you realized? Remember that one partner's absolutely essential subscription might look like a super easy cut to the other. You have to carefully weigh these trade-offs together. Small adjustments add up so quickly, but they require mutual agreement. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought and a question to discuss tonight. Which budgeting method will you and your partner choose today? Because listen, budgeting isn't really about restricting your freedom, it's about gaining control and building a future together. Sit down, have the conversation, pick your method, and decide as a team. Is your money currently dictating your relationship, or are you ready to make your money work for your shared future?